First thing we need to do is install Git on your machine. Let us start off by opening Windows PowerShell. If we type the command git in the command line interface, we get an error that the command is not recognized. We can also try the command in command prompt, but we will get the same result. Let us download Git SEM off the official website. You can either search for it in Google or go to the URL git-sem.com. Look for the monitor icon with the latest source release and click the download button. By default, the Chrome browser will save your download in the Downloads folder. If your quick access sidebar does not have the download shortcut on it, the absolute path is here. The first step in the installation process is selecting the installation directory. This defaults to the C drive, program files, Git. I would recommend leaving this setting to default. Since the program runs mainly from command line, I prefer to keep icons on the desktop turned off. I also prefer to turn off automatic updates on most of my programs, as this can impact system performance. You can choose to create a start menu folder or not. This is again up to your preference. This option is asking you which text editor you prefer to use for Git. I will be using Sublime Text, a minimalist and powerful text editor. You will need to select the second option to use Git from the command line and third-party software. This will enable programs like Visual Studio Code to run the Git commands in the console. Keep this option set to default. Keep this option set to default as well. Change this option to Use Windows Default Console window. Lastly, keep all these settings set to default. Finally, click Install. If we open Windows PowerShell again and type git, we can see the command usage. And again on Windows command prompt. This is how we know that Git is installed and working in the system path, by allowing the command git to execute. Let us start our next part by navigating to github.com. On the front page, we can create a free account by typing in the required information. After completing the CAPTCHA, I turn off email notifications. This is up to your preference. Click the Join a Free Plan button to create your account. Your account is now created. Answer the questions to help GitHub understand your intentions and skill level. Finally, you need to navigate to your email and click the Verify Email Address button and the email sent from GitHub. If we log out, we can see the Sign In button at the top right-hand corner of the homepage. Now that we are logged in, let us create a repository. Click the green button on the left side of the page to do so. Let us give our repository a name. For the tutorial, I will name my repository Git Tutorial. If we set a description here, we can give users a glimpse of what our repository is for. You can change this later too. Lastly, let us select the public button to allow users to do pull and commit requests to the repository. Only the commits approved of by the branch master can be merged. Let's set up a README file, giving us a file to compare with and providing insight again on what the repository is about. This is our repository URL. Here we can see what our repository looks like from an outside user's perspective. This is what our readme.md file looks like in its formatted state. Let us copy our repository URL. We will need this when cloning it in VSCode. Now we can open Visual Studio Code for the first time. First, go to the navigation bar and click View, followed by the command palette. We need to type git clone to clone our repository onto our local machine. Here it asks for our repository URL. We will paste our URL we copied earlier in this prompt. Now, Visual Studio Code wants us to select the location to store our project's files. Visual Studio Code has finished pulling the repository's files to the directory, and now we can see the readme.md file. Let's make some changes to this file. This will allow us to track the changes we made when we commit the files. Notice the notification icon near the source control management icon on the left side. This is letting us know there are modifications of files waiting to be committed. If we stage the changes and then click the commit checkmark, we then have to leave a message. The message text box is used to explain what changes were made since the last commit. Now we will do a push onto the GitHub server to confirm the changes made. If we reload the page, we can view the changes that were made. Here is our updated readme.md file with 2 more lines of text. Notice how it highlights the changes in the file compared to the previous commit.